trying to make sure that we're visiting with a number of stakeholders, but are definitely not trying to rush things. And so, the important thing from a legislative perspective, and I'm sure it's the same thing for the governors, is to make sure that we've got something that's going to have a broad enough, agreement on in both chambers of the legislature, in the House and the Senate. The governor's task force steering committee is meeting here in about an hour, and what they're looking at is to expend some more federal CARES money. And one of the things that's going to be discussed today is going to be some money for cities and counties, which are certainly in need. And as they're waiting to see what, if anything, is going to happen at the federal level, I don't know if the decision is going to be made today, but I certainly expect that they're going to see some money taken out of our federal CARES funds to go to cities and counties. On a bright note, our revenues from the state level in April were down just about $14 million, which was much better than what we anticipated. Now, I don't know, if we're going to expect that to hold. Certainly now, as people are able to get out and businesses are starting to open back up and people have a chance to leave their house and to spend money, I think in the short term, you'll probably see a little bit of an uptick there, but there's still a lot of caution and reservation with moving towards the end of the summer and into fall and winter. So we don't want to count our chickens before they hatch, but I will say that April certainly was better off. We ended up better off than what we expected.
Scott, if I could, let me just interject. We also received the numbers last week, and the mayor and the judge released them. Both Boone County and Harrison were up over projections, and in both cases, we had the 5th largest sales tax delivery ever. So that was really great news for us.
Hopefully that's a trend that we're going to see across the state. I, of course, try to keep plugged into north central Arkansas, but I haven't heard for the rest of the state. But those are very promising signs, and I can assure you that that's not the case, across the board in all these other states. And so, one thing that we have to be careful of as we're moving forward is just because things are getting better today, anything can change on the drop of a dime. So you want to be conservative when you're making your budgets and when you're spending money. And even now, we're looking at trying to put back, hopefully about $250 million out of this federal CARES money, and hold on to that as we move into the fall and to winter, because we don't know what's coming down the road. So we want to make sure that we're, from the state standpoint, that we're going to be in a position to have money as needed in the event that we do start to see a decline in revenues. Certainly, anybody's got any questions or anything, I would love to hear from you all.
Does anyone have questions for Scott? I know that, he started off by mentioning the COVID indemnity. Are there any questions in that? I think you answered it, Scott. I mean, we understand this being a work. If there are questions, go ahead and ask them now, and then we'll let Scott get back to his meeting, which starts here in a few minutes. Okay. Scott, thank you very much for being with us.
Bob, thank you very much. Members, thank you very much. Again, my cell phone is 870-421-3420. If I can be of any help or answer any questions for you, just don't hesitate to give me a call.
Senator, thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Joe, thank you very much.
Let me ask you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is Ron McNair on? Ron, you may be muted. *6. Almost. Yeah. Well, Ron is on. Ron, when you get unmuted, just interrupt, and we'd like to get your update as well. Thank you.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that has these technical difficulties from time to time.
Oh, you're not. All right, let's go to Vince Lees. Vince, you're on first, and we'll look at the healthcare update.
Well, thank you guys very much. Sammy and I are going to kind of tag team you on some numbers here. We reported to you last week that the state had relaxed some of their directives on visitation in hospitals. I have to say that we are in a position right now where we're gonna keep our hospital on a restricted status, because we just are seeing a ton of numbers in cases popping up in our region, and we're classified in the Northwest region. Let's go to the next slide. Yesterday, the governor reported the highest number of community-acquired cases since they've been keeping data, and that's 375 cases. There were 132 people in the hospital as of yesterday. That's up 11 from the day before. And there were 31 patients on ventilators, which was up 3 from the day before. Let's go to the next slide. There, it looks like there's a number missing there. I'll give it to you. Benton County, they have 676 cases of COVID, 65 new cases just yesterday. And Pulaski County was the next highest reporting yesterday at 969 total, but 63 new cases yesterday. Dr. Smith reported that 50% of those cases were from one nursing home in Jacksonville. Washington County has a total of 620 cases, 57 new cases yesterday. And then I tossed some other numbers in here at the bottom. Sammy's got some other slides at the end of this that have more detail, but currently Boone County stands at 6, Marion at 2, Baxter 12, and Carroll County just next to us here at 29. We have, the next slide, please. Sammy's going to walk through these, and she has some specific slides regarding the poultry industry and the data that's being collected from that. So Sammy, please go ahead.
Okay, so as you look at this map with Arkansas Department of Health, you can see that we're continuing to grow, and we're seeing hot spots throughout the region. As Vince gave you the numbers for what's going on over in Benton County and Washington County, they are seeing a pretty significant increase. The other area that's increasing is Carroll County, and a lot of that is related to some of the poultry industry. We're watching that very closely. We are seeing a number of these patients come into our market area to receive care and treatment. We have seen a significant increase in our inpatient volume for people under investigation, or what we would call a PUI. The most we had up until 3 days ago was 4 at one time, and we had an increase and had 12 at one time. So what we're beginning to see is an increase in the severity of illness, and also the number of cases. Next slide, please. So this is just the same image for Pulaski County. You can see the number of positive total cases, and then the active cases and the ones that are recovered. And so you can see that those numbers recovered are not transitioning near as quickly as the new active cases. Next slide, please. This is the same image for Carroll County. And again, if you look at the population of Carroll County and then you look at the number of cases that are increasing there, I expect that you're going to continue to see a rise in that. I will tell you that 90% of the positive cases that we've seen have been out of Carroll County. Next slide, please. Again, this just shows you the activity in Washington County, and I think it's important to realize that we do have a fair number of people that travel to and from these counties for various reasons that are coming to Boone County, whether if that's people in Carroll County that are seeking services in Boone County, or whether that's for work-related reasons or family ties. There's a lot of travel back and forth in those areas, so it's not unlikely that we will see an increase at some point here. Next slide, please. This is a publication that was put out by the Arkansas Department of Health, and if you look at it, it specifically is broken down by the poultry businesses. You can see the number of active cases, 412, the number of recovered is 228, and the number of total cases is 640. And then you can see they did provide the ethnic background of these, and they also provided the active number of cases per poultry industry. So as we're working through these, we are making special accommodations to people that are coming to us. We are inquiring as far as what their exposure is. As Vince mentioned, the Arkansas Department of Health did change their testing requirements and kind of relax those. And so any patient that is symptomatic at all, is for the most part receiving a COVID-19 test, and then any patient that is asymptomatic but has known exposure to a known positive COVID-19 person. And part of what we're including in the testing criteria is looking at occupational hazards, which would be where they work. Next slide, please. Okay, and then this just is a different picture of the county of residence specific to the cases associated with the poultry industry. And so one thing that has been questioned is if there's any congregate groups that maybe work with various agencies. So we may, and they provide a service such as a janitorial or a cleaning service that may be crossing from one to the other. My understanding is that Arkansas Department of Health is looking at that very closely. I think this is, again, important for our community to know, because we have many people in our community that are associated with this. And so as we continue to navigate this very sticky situation and try to keep the health of our community, and we, as Mr. Flippo mentioned, as we start to open things back up, we have to do it cautiously. Vince did mention that we're still maintaining the visitor restrictions. And the reasons why we're doing that, again, is because that's just one way that we're able to kind of limit some foot traffic, limit exposure, and try to be sure we're doing everything we can to keep these people safe. We're encouraging people to wear face masks, social distancing, hand hygiene, do your activities of daily living, maintain the things you need to, but just maintain a safe distance and try to keep everybody as safe and healthy as possible. I know there are a lot of questions that we're getting from employers as far as work notes and needing access to a negative COVID test if they've had exposure. If you have specific questions about that, you're happy to contact me, shoot me an email, or give me a call, and we'll work through those with you as much as we can.
Danny, thanks. Questions for Vince or Sammy?
There's one more. Yeah, there's one more slide, Bob,
Sorry.
that
All right.
just to finish up. As Sammy mentioned, even though we're well into this, we're seeing more activity right now than we've seen. And we're seeing these cases in our surrounding counties go up. And as you know, Northwest Arkansas was identified as a hot spot now.
Right.
So as Sammy mentioned, this is the time for us to step up, wearing the mask, washing our hands, distancing, and doing the things that we need to do to make sure that our case numbers don't go way up.
Very true. Yeah. All right. Thank you all very much. Josh Keener could not join us today, but I see that Representative Ron McNair is on the line. So, Ron, you want to give us a quick update from your perspective?
Yeah, *6 doesn't work on mine.
Okay.
but I finally poked enough that I got it. Well, other than what Senator Flippo was talking about, I talked to the Speaker Shepherd yesterday, and of course the House is in communication, and he said that they've got to have something that's going to pass, or there's no use having a special session. But he said he hoped within the next few days that they would send something out for the membership to look at.
Good. Okay. So we'll stay in touch, and Ron, if you would, if you get some updates, if you'd provide them,
Sure.
You've got the emails for the task force, or you can get it to me and I'll get it out to everyone. We really appreciate that. Thank you.
Sure, and I'm sure everybody's got it, but I don't mind giving you my cell phone number too.
Well, why don't you just publish it?
Let my text message stop first.
He's going to look at it.
870-754-7962.
7962. Thank you,
Yes,
sir.
you bet.
That's good. All right, let me just jump to the next slide, which is the update on the free COVID testing sponsored by the Department of Health. Last Thursday's test on May the 28th, there were 63 conducted, and for the results from the Harrison Free Clinic, there have been no positives from the 3 weeks that the tests have been given. They are beginning tomorrow. They're at the J.C. Penney parking lot at the Ozark Crossing Mall, where they're tests from 9 to 4. Main Street businesses. Emily, you're on. No, she was not.
Bob, I'm not sure if Emily's on, but this is known. We really don't have anything else to report, but if you'd like to go over the social media how-to, I'm not sure if Emily's on or not, but that's coming up, and I think that's going to be very, very beneficial to really anyone, but especially small businesses.
Yeah, you're right. And I put that slide up. The social media how-to will be next Thursday, June the 11th from 11:30 to 1 at the JPH Center. We'll also be doing a virtual, but the first 15 businesses that sign up, you're going to get hands-on tutoring from our experts. We really encourage you to do it. As Joan said, this is really geared to small business and the tremendous impact that social media has now to the success of that small business, no matter if it's a product or a service. This is really important, so we encourage you to join. Any questions for Joan or the Main Street business team? All right, thank you. All right, from the Prime business team, Jimmy, you and Joe are on, I know. These are the posters that are still available on our website. Does anybody have an update or any questions? Jimmy, any update from the team for our Prime business?
No real updates. We're just working hard to keep everybody in our four walls safe, and we've stepped up some of the protocols around requiring face masks in different areas of the plant. So understand the risk that Sammy and Vince were talking about, definitely.
That's good. Thanks very much, Jimmy. Joe, any report from your perspective out on Forward Drive?
Yeah, so we continue to work as much as we can remotely. So there's about 25-30% of the building that does not have that opportunity. So we remain open on Forward Drive. There's no return to work plan that is being executed at this time. We're kind of on a wait and see approach. And as far as, I'm not sure, I'm interested in any kind of timing on that possible Harrison Daily Time article that we did submit. So of course, we have the mask protocol and different protocols within the building to promote social distancing, requiring masks entering or exiting the building. So following those CDC guidelines is really top of mind right now with the folks that are in the building right now.
All right.
Thank you.
Donna Bramer, I saw that you're on. Do you have a response for Joe on when you might have that Prime business article ready? Maybe she didn't, she's trying to find the *6. So we'll come back, Joe, and we'll get you an answer.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay, Dr. Pratt.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Any?
I want to just say there's some good things going on in Harrison Public Schools. If you've noticed, if you've gone down Goblin Drive, there's no congestion at this time, which is good. But there are some great things going on, and let me explain to you. Back to Vince and Sammy, we're following all the guidelines. We've got our mask. We're doing a lot of wipe down. But the good thing is AAA, our athletic association, has allowed our athletes to come back in, use the weight room under certain guidelines. We're doing that. The kids are coming in and lifting. You'll also see them out on the track and the football field, working out, doing some agilities outside in the open air and staying away from one another. And they're able to catch and throw a ball. As of last week, we couldn't throw a football or a basketball to one another, but that has released a little bit and relaxed. So our kids are able to come into school and get some things done. So don't be surprised when you see some athletes out on the football field in those areas working out a little bit, which is a good thing. We got them out of the house and getting in shape. Number two, I want to share with everyone that Harrison Public Schools is developing a game plan for next fall. It's our hope that we will be communicating specifics and detailed plan of what school will look like. And we hope to do that the week of June 22nd through 26th. We've got a couple board meetings coming up. We've got some planning going on, and we feel like we're prepared for any of the contingencies that may come. And we hope to share that with our parents and our community so everybody will know about 8 weeks to 9 weeks before school starts exactly how school will look in August in one of these 3 scenarios. So hope that's our report for today, and I'm more than happy to take any questions, Bob.
That's good, Stuart. Thank you. That's it's great news that you're going to have a plan available the last week in June. That's really super. Any questions for Stuart that he can answer? Okay, let's go to the OUR co-op. I'm not sure if either Rick or Jeff Cantrell are on the phone. Hearing none, let's go to Dr. Esters.
All right, can you hear me?
Got it.
All right. We're like K-12. We're making our plan to return in the fall. Our plans right now is to come back with students on campus in a limited way. We'll offer a course that'll have some students face to face on a very limited basis. Some students will be simulcast with Zoom rooms, and then some will be online. So any section, you'll have 3 choices of how to participate and learn at the college. But we do plan to return, but all of that could change at the drop of a dime. Some couple of good news things, and some numbers that are up that is not like Vince's numbers that are bad news when they're up. Our summer numbers are up 25%. We've had our best summer since 2012. So that's encouraging, and we hope that keeps for the fall, because that profoundly affects our budget. We were just awarded last week. We were notified we got $470,000 National Science Foundation grant, and that's going to allow us to modernize and mobilize our information technology program, including some of our new programs that we'll be offering. Related to that is cybersecurity will be coming in the fall. Paramedic to RN will be offered in the fall, and we'll start our turf management in the fall. And we continue to issue the Pioneer Strong grants. These are cash grants to students that have no restrictions for students that were affected by the pandemic, which, as we know, is just about everybody. So that's all I got for my report.
I had one texted question, Randy. Do you know how many grants that the Pioneer Strong grants that you've been able to provide?
I don't know an exact number. We were just under $400,000 worth, this week. So we're a little over halfway. I'm really, really surprised at how hard it is to give away money. Yeah,
that's unfortunate, but somebody's going to wake up one day and it's all going to be gone. Thank you.
That's right.
Any other questions for North Arkansas College? Okay. All right. Shonda, are you on for the nonprofit group? Okay. I know that Bill Knight mentioned.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry,
please.
I'm in my car and I'm stopped. It just took me a second. I apologize. I don't have any update from the churches besides everything is the same as last week. I do know that in regards to the nonprofits, all of our operating hours and processes are still the same. And but there are several of us that have been receiving some grants or are in the potential to receive some grants in regards to COVID-19 and homelessness and the underserved. So we started meeting formally with a small group to kind of designate a formal plan with some MOUs to work together to make sure that we spread the money and not duplicate our efforts.
Good. All right, that's great news, Shonda. And if you want, when you get some of those facts and figures together, it would be a good update for the team. Thank you.
Yes, probably. Hopefully next week. We just have a couple that we're not allowed to publicize yet.
Yeah, that's great. Okay.
Thanks.
Questions for Shonda? All right. Let's go to the tourism. Matt Bell is not on the call today, but these are the 2 points that he asked me to point out to you. Buffalo National River is in fact open in their campgrounds. And the food purchasing co-op has 5 restaurants that are participating. I don't know, and he was not aware of their impact to date, but we'll try to get an update next week. Finance subgroup, Gwen Hoffman.
Hello, everybody. The PPP program in Arkansas, we've given out over 40,000 loans and totaling over $3 billion in that, for a national total of $510 billion as of May 30th.
Wow.
On that. And they're looking at funding more along the way. So that is not done and won't be probably before the end of the year. The Flexibility Act was passed through the House, and that would allow, if that goes through, that will give an extension to 24-week period of reaching the forgiveness paperwork. And then they increased, or actually reduced, the cost of payroll from 75% to 60% of those funds to be spent on payroll. And then for new PPP loans, they've extended the term to 5 years. Existing will stay at 2 years.
Good news.
The EIP card, instead of receiving the check, they're now switched to the payment card. And so hopefully you can see there where I've provided some information to verify your card if you do receive that, but be on the lookout for that item and don't throw that away. The other item is personal income rose in April due to the CARES Act. And as you can see from our tax revenue here in this area, greatly reflects that. The other item is the manufacturing index. On that, there was a slight increase from March, so that's at least somewhat decent. And then it goes through, you had 6 industries that reported growth, 11 did not in that area. And then the bank economists forecast a 6% contraction for the year. Conditions beginning to recover sometime around the 3rd quarter. And information regarding those should be in the slides.
Yep, there it is.
Anything else?
How about locally? Do we have any update?
No, we're still about 50-50 on bank lobbies that are open. Everyone is pretty much continuing existing as is.
Okay, all right. Questions about the good news and the not so good news that Gwen just reported? Okay. Infrastructure subgroup, Jim Blackwell, you're on. I note that there's no change from the 3 of you. Is that correct?
That is correct. No change at this time.
Okay. All right, let's go to the government subgroup. Daniel, are you on for Judge Hathaway? Daniel Bolin, are you on? Okay. Terry Crow, Mayor Crow, how are things in Valley Springs?
Well, really no change there either, actually, but thanks for asking.
Well, okay, well, we'll do that. And the, any questions for Mayor Crow? All right, Mayor Jackson is in a meeting with several other agencies at this time. He has asked me, though, to read, some of you may know this, he has asked me to read a letter that he just released about 30 minutes ago. And I will do that now. To citizens of Harrison, first, I want to say how saddened we are for the death of George Floyd, and no one in Harrison, Arkansas will defend the actions of the one officer. I hope all of you support the Harrison Police Department and all of our local law enforcement. They are truly dedicated public servants and deserve our respect and support. We want to let you know that all agencies are aware of potential protests and are working together to make sure that they are peaceful, and we will not tolerate any non-peaceful or criminal activity. Be assured that the Harrison Police Department, the Boone County Sheriff, and the Arkansas State Police are working together to keep order in our community and to protect you and your property. There are 2 peaceful protests scheduled, one for Thursday evening on the square and another for Friday at 4 p.m. And the second one will organize in the old junior high parking lot. Police Chief Chris Grady, Assistant Chief John Cagle, and I have met with both organizers. We believe in and have no problem with peaceful protest, but we also feel strongly that if any harm comes to any people or property, it will be dealt with in an appropriate manner. Harrison, Arkansas is a community of people that enjoy small town values. We appreciate your prayers and support. Signed, Jerry Jackson, Mayor of Harrison. There's been, and that is the context of his letter, several, I think, in the media have received that the same time I did this afternoon. From my perspective, and I'm sure, in fact, I know that several of you on this call have seen the chatter on social media. In fact, Jerry is in a meeting with the sheriff and the judge and the chief, along with the Arkansas State Police and other federal agencies about this right now, as they develop a plan or some contingency plans for both Thursday and Friday. We hope that those contingency plans are not necessary once they're made available and to the public, the portions that can be released. He's asked that the chamber will release those, and we plan to do that as necessary.
Bob, this
yes,
is
sir.
Vance. I want to make sure that the community knows that we're working with law enforcement as well. We're preparing the emergency facility. We're preparing appropriate staff levels just in case something terrible happens here in Harrison.
Good.
And just to make sure that we have the appropriate people on board here, as well as the appropriate means to protect our staff. Is that, as you guys know, if something happens here in town, it's going to wind up in our emergency room, and we're going to have the bad guys and the good guys in the same lobby. So we're going to have to be very careful how we manage this.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
We hope that nothing happens, but we are in the process of working with law enforcement to be prepared to take care of our folks.
Great. Thanks, Vince, and I apologize. I should have included you. I know that the 911 folks, Daniel Boland, is in fact in that meeting. I should have realized that. So planning is critical. Contingency planning is critical. And again, if there are some portions of the contingency plans that can be released to the public, we certainly will do that. I think as we've all gone through the last 10 days, especially the last 5 or 6 days, from a COVID-19 standpoint and businesses reopening, I think we're all surprised. You heard Scott mention it, Ron mention it, and our healthcare team mention it as well. The spike has begun. We hope that it does not proceed any further. But yet, I think this has been helpful for us to prepare for whatever contingency lies ahead. Let me thank you again, Joe. Any parting comments before we adjourn for today? Or comments from anyone on the call? Joe, over to you. Okay. Okay, Joe may have dropped off. I apologize. Let us, without any other comments from anyone, please know that we appreciate your participation. The dialogue and the collaboration is important as we look ahead to get the economy reopened. So again, appreciate your time today. Thank you very much. And we'll be in touch. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.